right, everybody. Welcome back for another iteration of From the Couch. I'm your host, Tony.
Uche.
All right. Yeah. So, good to be back, right?
Yeah, back from a long sickness.
This last week was first week of the NFL, which was exactly. That's kind of how I felt. And just as you said just a moment ago, we're both 1-0, which is kind of nice. And Ron, who was on a couple weeks ago, former Lions fan as well. But just like as I was. For him and it was, I think we both came to that conclusion of this is not the team that we want to follow anymore. But needless to say, the Eagles put it to the Lions up until almost right at the end when it looked like the Lions were going to come out of their cave. And
I got a little nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was just confused. Like, why do they even have this many points? Like, how did we get here?
It's interesting. That's similar to what happened in the Commanders game, So we start off on fire, and then fourth quarter, Carson throws 2 picks.
Carson things.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me.
I saw Redskins fans tweeting about the game.
Yeah.
He was like, Carson is that guy. Then fourth quarter, he sucks. And I was like, oh my gosh.
He's that guy that the Colts got rid of. Yeah, right. But I tell you what, I mean, that guy's accuracy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, just what a turn of events. And I watched the post game where, they hand out the game ball. Coach hands out the game ball and he gives it to Wentz, and he just talks about, the persistence of coming back and, being in that moment where he needed to really thread a needle.
Yeah. And
there was one specific actually, there were 2 specific plays. So he Carson slings it out to Dotson in the corner of the end zone, and it was crazy because he's got a defender that's on him. Mm-hmm. He can see kind of around the defender, but on this side of the ball, that's where the ball is getting placed, and it's in a window that is probably this bananas, right?
And Carson made the throw,
dimes it right in there, and he catches it around a guy.
Yeah,
I'm like, this kid's going to be a stud, and I drafted him. It was late in the rounds, but of our draft, but. Yeah, so definitely awesome first week, especially when your teams win. That's always an exciting moment. Mm-hmm. One of the topics we wanted to touch on this week is relationships, and no, not the romantic type, but more so about relationships.
I'm sure some people want to know about.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do.
Some guys need dating advice. I don't know.
I've been married almost 20 years. I don't think I'm the guy for dating. So, no, but relationships and in business, in parenting, in friendships. How do you cultivate them? Because as we get older, things start to take up our time.
Yeah.
Work and kids and more work, and it's difficult from when you were, say, in high school, where your friends were your absolute everything to you, and you just spend a majority of your time with them. So you're on the same sports teams together, you're in the same clubs together,
ride the bus to school together, hang out after school.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you get older, it's okay, we start to recognize that, hey, you have a life that you're working with, I have a life that I'm working with. How do we continue to cultivate our relationship so we know that we're still important to one another, but at the same time we have other things that we're responsible for, so we don't have all of that time to spend together?
Yeah, I think that's something like me and a few of my friends struggle with over like the last 2-3 years, because everyone's like, people are having kids, everyone's getting new jobs, moving like to a Houston, Atlanta, so it's kind of hard to like maintain those relationships still as to when we first met, where we were hanging with each other every day. Now everyone has their own responsibilities, so you have to really kind of prioritize what to put your time into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's interesting, and I think you're right in that sweet spot from an age perspective of where the high school, college years, and then just out of college time frame,
young adult years,
exactly. And that's when you got all your friends and everybody's hanging out together and just really enjoying time with one another. Time again, there we go. So
I knew we were going to come back to this.
But as you're getting older, and now it's, as you said, babies come into play, marriages come into play. career, where's your job going to take you? Are you going to be in a different area, as you said? You know, you have friends that are kind of all over the country now that you grew up with.
Yeah.
And how do you still continue to cultivate that relationship? And sometimes, you know, friendships, you know, they break apart for years. I got a buddy that he and I didn't chat for, many years. This is my best friend in high school. And it was weird. It was just like last July, not this past one, but the previous one, reached out to one another through Facebook, and we vacationed together. Since then, we've vacationed together. Our families have hung out together, stayed at their house up in Michigan. He's been down here. They're coming back into town, him and his wife, in a few weeks, and then their whole family's going to come out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just different points in life that change, and then finding that commonality. And then
all it takes is one little thing, and it's like, oh, we're clicking it right back where we left off at.
Yeah, and I had a cousin who was having a wedding, and I think I posted something saying, you know, hey, I'm going to be back in town, or going to my cousin's wedding, and then, you know, my buddy hits me up, and he was like, hey, you want to hang? Like, absolutely, yeah. So, but not just in the friendship aspect of relationship cultivation, but also in the business side of things. And I think that has been, for me, for Weeghman Briggs, for our staff members at Weeghman Briggs, we've all cultivated relationships. And I want to say that everyone that is part of the company all stems from some other form of relationship within the company. So it's either an introduction from a staff member or playing basketball. Exactly. Going to the kids going to the same school, and that's where Ben gets involved here. But not just that; it's also in the business process as well, the business development side of things, relationships that we have, that we've built trust with, who are now become our customers, people that we're servicing, know that we're part of something here at our company that is important enough to expand and grow, and they want to be part of that. And maybe it's their company is doing something similar that what we're doing, and then they're asking, hey, can you provide service, or can you provide support to us? And I just truly feel that that's been a awesome avenue in regards to our growth as a company. A buddy of mine I had dinner with a couple weeks ago, he had recommended this conversation, during one of our podcasts, and I just felt, man, what a perfect topic for us to talk about. And there's, we could probably talk hours on end about, cultivating relationships.
The importance of it.
Exactly. So I kind of want to circle back to you on your comments and statements about with your friends and buddies that are moving out, and girlfriends that you've had, because, that starts to change too. So no longer do you really have all of these girlfriends of that you're girls that you're friends with. That has to change. Right. That has to change.
Like, what are you saying right now?
I know, right? That goes away. You get married and you don't have a bunch of girlfriends anymore, because it's just it may be awkward in that regard. And so, what has that been like for you during that transition? And then, if you can, kind of talk to me a little bit about, from the business side of things, what has that done for you in growth in this industry, and then from a personal side of your what you're looking at from a training perspective and whatnot? Are there other friends that are out there that have kind of branched off years ago, haven't talked to, and now all of a sudden you see something pop up in the social media aspect?
And you're talking to them again. Yeah, I would say this job has helped me kind of like hone in on how to better use my time. So it helped me grow personally in a way where, when you come into work every day, you have to get tasks done, or you're going to do your job, obviously. So you have to structure yourself. You have to create like a self-schedule, like, okay, I'm going to do this today, do that today. That also helped me in my personal life, because, a lot of times when you have less responsibilities, you're throwing your time away willy-nilly because, you're young, you don't have too much to worry about. But I would say this job helped me in a way where, well, not just this job, a lot of jobs, but this job more importantly because, you have to be a self-starter sort of to work here. And that kind of helped me, like I said, structure my time, focus on more what's important. That helped me. You have to also realize, you have to kind of sit back one day and jot things down mentally or on a piece of paper, like, okay, what's important to you? And that helped doing that in work, of course. I also translated that over to my personal life. So I started doing that, like, all right, which one of my friends who makes me happiest? Who's the coolest to hang out with?
Right.
Who do I have the best memories with? So I started doubling down on them more. And, rather than wasting your time on people who aren't watering you, sort of say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, because that's a major point in cultivating friendships is who's watering one another, because you want your friends to flourish. You want other businesses that we work with to flourish because when they're doing, great things,
they're going to remember you like, this person, this company definitely, did some good work for us.
Right. And that helps us individually say, hey, we're part of something.
Yeah. Makes you feel, even though like we're a company, you still feel pride to be a part of that company. Like we helped with that,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably, we had Teresa on here a couple of weeks ago talking about training and that being like a big piece of how we plan to cultivate our relationship with our team, our staff members. We're going to use training to make them better, to make them more marketable within our own company, but also on some of the service projects that we support. And then taking that training and moving that into a stronger, more agile staff member, that's going to open up other doors for us. Yeah. In regards to, you kind of touched on spending time with those that are
sort of important to you.
Yeah, important to you. It's difficult because sometimes you may have like a blast with some people. You just, I always have a really good time, but it's always me picking up the phone or me shooting the text. Yeah. We all have those friends. We all have those friends. But one thing about that is that they're probably always responding. You may be the first one that strikes up the conversation, but they're always going to respond. So there's something that I do with some buddies, and every year, and that's we take what's called a mancation, right? I think I've told the story. Yeah. And our goal is to see every NFL stadium. Eventually, we'll do like Mexico City and out to London, because they do those games as well
once a year.
But once we hit all the stadiums here in the States.
How many more you got left to go?
Oh, shoot. 18. I think we have maybe 16 left.
16? Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
More than halfway there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been fun. I mean, we've had an absolute blast. But you touch on, your buddies that have left the area. So there are a couple of...
It's a little bit harder.
Yeah. There are a couple of us that actually, are away from, the core group of guys that go. And one in particular, really the only time that we see one another, it might be, at our draft and then mancation, and then maybe once or twice throughout the year we'll see one another. But it's like we never miss a beat, and it's just we always have a good time with one another. And there's one of those individuals and another guy that goes with us. They always they're good buddies, but they always butt heads about everything. So one is like one side of the spectrum, from a politics side, and the other one is completely opposite side of that. And I think intentionally they, I know that they butt heads on a lot of things. So I'll just throw like these little dimes in there, and then I'd like walk away, just to stir the pot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
you're an instigator.
Absolutely. But kind of going back, like I know that those two, of several, those two in particular are guys that would be there for me in a heartbeat. So
Always
we might
love.
not talk every single day,
Yeah.
once a month, whatever it is. I know that you
know
pick
their
up that
character
phone.
well enough, so it's
Absolutely.
always love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really important when it comes to relationship building and continuing to grow, as an individual. Like what's our purpose in everyone that you meet? And I feel mine is to help people be better at whatever it is that they want to be better at.
Yeah.
I've said this on multiple occasions. Anytime anyone comes in, what are your goals? What are your dreams? How can I help you reach
How can I
those?
help you? Yeah.
Yep. So that to me, I think is my watering can, more or less. Figure out what it is that the person that you're meeting, the company that you're working with, the individual that's maybe related to somebody. How do we help them be better at what they want to be better at?
Yeah, I feel very similar. Like mine, for me personally, it's like my thing is, you can't help a lot of people. I know I can't in this position, but I try to help by leading by example. So like I try to set an example for like how I want my friends to act or how I want my siblings. I think also part of that boils down to me being the oldest of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just always been me. That's why Kobe Bryant's been my favorite player. He's always been a lead by example type of person.
Right.
He wants you to do the best, and he's gonna do it by, I'm gonna show you what I believe is the best, and hopefully you follow.
Right. It's funny you bring up Kobe. So I remember seeing an interview. I don't even remember who he was on, but he was talking about, maybe it was Stephen A. I think that's who it was. But anyway, he was talking about the young guys that were coming into the league, and they wanted to go out and party. And Kobe was like, not my thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely not my thing. But he said, they're picking on him, like, hey, old man, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was like 35 at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
So as they're, kind of egging him on, he's like, yeah, absolutely. You know what? We're going to go out. But the thing is that if I go out with you guys, you're going to get up and you're going to train with me in the morning. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem. Well, we all know that Mamba mentality. Kobe wasn't getting up at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. No, this dude was up at like 4:30.
Yeah.
And he's at the gym hitting it hard. And he said, it smelled like a brewery on the court because he went out with them and he had a good time.
Yeah.
And these guys, they show up because they promised that's what they were going to do. And I think of that like anytime like I.
Imagine training with Kobe. I didn't mean to cut you off. Imagine training with Kobe after a night out drinking. That's
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine.
Did Jordan win a finals game like that?
Yeah,
I know.
he might have.
Jordan's a different breed. It's
It
not
is.
fair to compare people to him.
I can't imagine training with Kobe, let alone going out partying with him beforehand, and or the night before. He just was just different. Yeah, different. And, I think that oftentimes people think of athletes as like, oh, okay, you're just an athlete, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
this
no.
guy had a different mindset. Jordan did too, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was he was a winner, plain and simple. But when it came to how to get there, that's why it was called Mamba mentality. I mean, like the dude
It was
just
a mindset thing.
was focused and focused and focused. And he was the first one in the gym, last one out
of the gym. And when you hear him speak, he would say things like, I can't let him think that he outworked me. And I was like, this guy's crazy.
Exactly.
He was like, I just don't even want that person to think that they outworked me. So he would force himself to stay afterwards longer. Like he'll say, I'm leaving by 8. He won't leave till like 10 because somebody else came in. He's like, I got to let him know that when he leaves here, I'm still here. And
Exactly.
I was like, that is crazy.
There was another guy who was like talking about Kobe. This is like after he had passed. And he made the comment, something along the lines of like, oh, I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna be at practice super late, or I'm gonna be super early. So one morning I get to the gym, lace up. I'm like rolling out onto the court, and I hear thud, thud,
The bouncing.
thud, the bouncing of the basketball, and it's Kobe out there, and he had already been there for an hour or something crazy like that. Yeah. So
That's what I try to mold myself after that. Try to be what you want to see people. You know what I mean? The way you want to see people, be that person. A lot of people are trying to change the world around them, and I'm always like, guys, you have to start with yourself first.
Yeah.
Try to be the best version of yourself, and then start working your way around. Then your siblings will pick up on it. Your family will pick up on it. Friends will pick up on it. Like, oh, this guy's different. He walks different. He breathes different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's funny because we're talking about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You had a relationship with Kobe. He just didn't know you. You know what I
know,
mean? But that's all right, though.
Yeah.
Because the way that he held himself as an individual helped you to kind of helps mold you into how you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, that it's funny how that really ties back into our conversation of the building of relationships, because what are you going to do from that aspect? So someone that you didn't know, but you've had a relationship with, him as looking at almost like idolizing him, so to speak. But you're going to take that mentality, and that's going to churn out, eventually your kids or friends or colleagues or the next person that comes into the office. They're going to see that mentality of, hey, these are the things that I need to do in order to work at the same level. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an awesome attribute for you.
It's a great mindset to have, because it helps with, like you said, it helps with building relations. Once people see that, oh, this guy doesn't play serious, all right, then it's like that's a good foundation, I believe, for a relationship.
Right. It's the start of that trust relationship as well.
Yeah,
I trust this individual because I can see how hard that they're working.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely one of the topics that we definitely wanted to touch on, and we've talked about in past, and kind of fortunate that someone else brought it up and said, hey, here's a suggestion of something to reach out on.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciate, you know who you are, the suggestion. And, like we say all the time, our goal here is to, one, give some entertainment value, but also teach and talk through things that we're going through in life and relationship building, focusing on time management. I mean, we're always going to talk about time.
Yeah.
It comes up every single time.
It's the core of life.
Right, exactly. The commodity.
Yeah, it is life. Yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm all out of words for now.
That's all for me. I think I want to speak on football a little bit. Nah. I think I.
Yeah, ouch. So I will say something kind of funny. So, before we cut out, I'm watching ESPN the other day, and it showed like Dak breaks his finger. He's out 8 weeks.
That's
right?
crazy.
8 weeks. So I say this. I'm in the living room. My wife's in the kitchen, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, Dak's going to be out. We watched Hard Knocks a couple seasons ago, so she knows all of the Cowboys players that were kind of highlighted in the show. But during that chat, I was like, hey, Dak's going to be out for the next 8 weeks. Her response was, wait a minute. Wasn't our running back shot and he's going to be back in like 4 weeks? I tell you what, I about hit the ground laughing. It's so funny because she's picking up on the game, because of things like I'm saying, watching the game, going to the games, and the fact that she
crazy.
Remember that, and then I said to her, well, he is a quarterback, so we, with a broken finger,
I know it's hard,
is a little different. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Our running back got shot in the knee and in the butt.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. So I heard that he got shot, but I didn't know like where the injury was.
So.
Oh man.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, but funny story.
Weeks. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, funny story. But I think it was updated to now Dak may only be out 4 to 6 weeks, but we'll see.
That's still crazy that the guy's playing 4 weeks after getting shot.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
I get shot, I'm done for the season.
Absolutely.
That's just me personally.
Yeah, done. But he's a rookie, so I think he wants to.
He wants to prove himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he got his money.
Yeah, So, but all right. Well, definitely appreciate you guys joining in again. As you know, we did today. Took a suggestion, turned it into a show. So if you guys have any suggestions, definitely dump it in a comment. Send it out to us via email, and definitely would like to take an opportunity of touching on some of the things that you guys are interested in as well. So, but that's it from the couch. I'm Tony, out.
Peace.